You entrusted your loved one's care to a nursing home, expecting compassion and quality treatment. Instead, they suffered from neglect, abuse, bed sores, falls, or medication errors that could have been prevented. I'm Chris Brown from Geiger Legal Group. Our elderly deserve dignity and proper care, not negligence that causes pain and suffering. When nursing homes fail in their duty of care, we fight to hold them accountable. Your loved one's suffering matters. We'll stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG and let us tell your story today.
You snoozed twice this morning, spilled your coffee once, and you've already blamed last night's referee for your morning mood.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's time to embrace the chaos and step into the madness.
Bro, you about to see a side of me you didn't even know existed.
Featuring guests who are over-caffeinated and less reasonable than the average person.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Come on, man. Are you serious? Ugh.
Fans, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Welcome to the show.
So buckle up. It's time for hot takes and hot mics. This is the Morning Rant, where the only thing more unpredictable is Dave before his third cup of coffee.
I just felt like running.
On WPGY, the Sports Pig.
What's up, North Georgia? It's a Monday morning. We appreciate you guys being with us right here. It's our Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant, presented by your friends at Foundation Wealth in Dalton. Again, Joel Hudson, Eric Bishop, our man Coda, everybody chilling over there in Dalton, ready to help you guys out with any of your financial questions. A lot of scams going around right now, so if you get a call or an email or a text or what have you, and you're not sure about it, man, the folks over at Foundation Wealth invite you to call them, and they'll tell you whether or not it's for real or not. Hey, thanks for being with us right here, man. I'm Dave Garner alongside the refrigerator mover, Big John Davis, in here on a Mafia Monday morning. Thanks for being with us, Big John, man. You're looking good today, as always.
Man, great to be here. 5 days until our big announcement. Can't wait for it, but got a lot of sports going on.
Let's see. I can't hear you for some reason. What's going on here, partner? Hey, there we go. Now I got you. There you go.
Are we good now?
Guess I'll get there for just a second. I think we're good now. Man, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I was just telling everybody we got 5 days until our big announcement, and a lot of sports coming up. You talked about last week. This is normally the quiet time, but I do believe this past week was probably one of the best weeks of the year for all sports.
Yeah. Oh, man, you're not lying. I mean, and we're going to talk about it over this next hour. We've got a lot to pack into this hour. We always say this is the fastest 1 hour in sports talk radio, and indeed it will be, because between the NHL, Stanley Cup Finals, the NBA, Finals, the World Cup, the Braves, the UFL. I know you've been paying attention to that as well. Golf, I mean, you name it. The big UFC 250 Freedom Card taking place at the White House last night. There was a big upset, by the way, in that. So, man, a lot to unpack here, but also want to bring our slant on things as well. And we want to hear from you as well. The phone lines are open. Jasper Coca-Cola text line, as always, 866-888-0744. Again, that's 866-888-0744. Looked like you had a good weekend, man. I saw some of your social media pictures, and, man, you were doing some grilling.
Oh, man, I tell you, hey, we have family night once a month with all the ones that are close to us, and so we've tried to make that a little bit of a tradition. Of course, we miss our two oldest because they're out of town, but no, I was out there in the steaming heat. We got a nice little rain shower, and then the sun pops out, but no, I fixed some fajitas for the kids, and we sat around the table just catching up on everybody's month. That's about the only time we get a chance to, because with all their busy schedules and stuff, so we value that. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was kind of Saturday was nice. Yesterday, in parts of North Georgia, there were some storms that came through, so it was a little bit rainy, cloudy here. And then today, when you got to go back to work on a Monday, then things get real nice and sunny like they are this morning. So, again, that's just the way it works, man. That's the way it works. But, hey, you've got a trivia question, man, you want to throw out to start the show today.
Throw it out, kind of in line with what we had talked about last week with the 200-win percentage, who was the coach that had the highest, and obviously somebody called in, it was Don Shula. And so this week, who, with 50 games coached in the NFL, who has the worst winning percentage?
Oh, man. So now we're going the other way.
I guarantee
it's got to be a former Atlanta Falcon coach, but no, we'll see.
I thought so.
That just seems like a record that Atlanta would have, because the Falcons always have all the records in the wrong direction.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
But again, let us know what you think. If you got the answer to the question, like I said, we'll throw you a line. Text him with your answer, 866-888-0744. Once again, that question is the coach with the lowest winning percentage of all time with at least 50 games coached, correct? Isn't that
50 games coached?
50 games coached, the lowest winning percentage amongst NFL head coaches right here. A little trivia to get you started. Want to go ahead and bring it to the show early, so that way you've got time to think about it, and we'll reveal the answer a little bit later in the program. So what is Sports Weekend? And again, last night, the NHL coming to an end as the Carolina Hurricanes win their second Stanley Cup 20 years ago. It was the coach, and his name escapes me right off the top of my head, but he was a player for Carolina, hoisting the Stanley Cup trophy. 20 years later, he is now the head coach of Carolina. He hoists the trophy very much the same way, with the same energy and enthusiasm he did 20 years ago as a player. Congratulations, the Carolina Hurricanes, getting it done over the Golden Knights in Game 6 last night in Vegas.
I tell you what, you talk about a face for hockey. That dude's been through the trials and tribulations of the hockey puck meet my face. But no, I mean, I watched it last night. I missed the first series just by Netflixing and stuff. But I watched the second half or the second and the third periods, and it's just Carolina. I just think was the best team. After watching, I kind of, we talk about this and laugh about it. You change course, after every series and stuff. But looking back on it now, they were far and away better than anybody, and they played on offense the whole time. They never got contemplated and sat on their heels and stuff. And I just think Las Vegas, I think at the end of the day, which we'll talk about the NBA, I just think they got tired at the end, because when you're playing, when you got a team that's just, coming after you, it takes a lot out of you to try to get that puck to the other side.
Yeah, it does. Meanwhile, the New York Knicks fans tearing the town apart, man. Again, the Knicks with their first NBA Finals championship in over 50 years. They get it done in 5 games. And the San Antonio Spurs, man, bless their heart. I tell you, they had sizable leads in, 4 of the 5, maybe all 5.
No,
but,
it was all, it was all. Well, there's double digits in all 5 of them.
Yeah, and only took one of them, and that was the first game in New York in the Garden. But yeah, the Knicks, man, with the win there, man, the town goes crazy, and New York finally gets an NBA Finals championship. That town had been clamoring for a long time. When you look at all the sports teams in New York, and you ask a lot of New Yorkers, hey, who would be the team that you would prefer, to have a championship first? It wasn't the Giants or the Jets, it wasn't the Yankees necessarily. They've already won a ton, or the Mets.
Yeah.
It was the New York Knicks. I mean, that was the team that I think a lot of people in New York were have been clamoring for a championship for a long time.
That's generational. The fans and everything. Their parents grew up a fan of a team, and then the kids start to. I saw a couple of interviews just on. I think it might have been on ESPN where there was a young lady, and she's like, "This is what we've been waiting for our whole life." Well, sweetheart, you're only 20. It's what your parents and grandparents have been waiting for their whole life. But no, I understand. I understand where she's coming from. But yeah, I mean, you have to give all credit to the Knicks. They came out on offense, and from that very first game that I watched, Dave, and I think we might have talked about it, was how physical they came out, and they decided that they were going to push the envelope as far as they could to see what the refs were going to give them. And once they found that out, they just beat the crap out of San Antonio. That's the only way you can explain it. I think Wemby, I think he folded like a cheap suit, in the second half of the last 3 or 4 games, and I thought that the whole Spurs just showed their immaturity and not having the ability to rise up, in the most important series of your career.
Right, yeah, and credit the Knicks, to your point, the physicality, but also the Spurs, man, unable to just to hold any of the leads. I mean, if you look at it,
true, yes.
Easily, kind of like you said last week, I mean, it could have very easily been Spurs with a 3-1 lead, more so than the Knicks, again, blowing all the leads there. And now all the memes are going around saying the Spurs are the new Atlanta Falcons as far as all these, double-digit leads blown, especially late in ball games, too. I mean, they carried some of these double-digit leads well into the fourth quarter and still couldn't hold them. So, again, credit the Knicks, though, man. Again, there's a lot of folks talking about Team Japan in the World Cup, and we're throwing out a lot of headlines here in the first segment, as we always do, and then we dive into things a little bit further in segments 2, 3, and 4. But again, with the World Cup, you had Team Japan. I don't know if you saw the video there. They're actually cleaning up the stadium. Like, their fans were cleaning up trash around them, and they were saying, folks in New York could probably take a page out of that book, and here they are, they're tearing their town apart. Now, I know that's not all New Yorkers, but still, there's something to be learned.
Anywhere you go where Japan's in attendance for a sporting event, any sport that you want to throw out there, they do the same exact thing. They leave the stadium as clean as they got it when they came in, and that's just their culture, And you're right, we're not all that way, but you can tell, the exuberance after a win, that the last thing they want to do is pick up trash. And that also gives me, I just wanted to throw this out. We're going to, I think I put it up on social media earlier, but I'd be interested to see if somebody texted us in, and I thought I texted it right here. Freddie on X, have you been following him?
Oh yeah, man, I've been following Freddie the whole time, man, since he landed in Atlanta, man.
He started in Atlanta and then started taking his car ride across the southeast, and I put it up on I put it up on my Facebook page, but it's at Freddie FREDDY LA7. If you can follow him, if you're on X and you can follow him, he is just dumbfounded by how courteous the Americans are, and Buc-ee's and Waffle House, and he's just amazed, and TJ Watts for the Houston not the Gamblers, the Houston Texans. He bought him like a big suite, for 2 or 3 nights. He just filled it up. So, I mean, so getting back to soccer, it was the World Cup. You got to follow Freddie. I know I'm all over the place. You got to follow Freddie because he is a lot of fun. But the World Cup. But the World Cup starting, I watched as many games as I could. Not the whole games, but I just kind of watched to see the different types of, strategy and everything. And it's going to be a fun next, 3 or 4 weeks getting to watch that, especially as it gets closer into the, semifinals and quarterfinals.
Yeah, of course, Mercedes-Benz hosting a semifinal match later on in the World Cup. But the action in Atlanta gets underway today. In fact, right around noon, I believe, Spain kicks off against Cape Verde, Cabo Verde over in Africa. I was saying it earlier like it was a South American country, like verde, like salsa, like green. But no, it's actually an African country. By the way, there are 9 African countries. I was adding them up the other day just out of curiosity. Sometimes, it's fun just to try to find all these places on a map, right? I mean, it's all geography.
Right.
But nonetheless, a lot. And I tell you what, I did watch a lot of soccer over the weekend. Of course, I watched our American team get the dub on Friday over Paraguay. Did you realize, John, that the U.S. men's national team has only won 8 matches in the World Cup since 1930?
Yeah, no, I did not know that.
It's a big. I mean, I hate to say this, but it's a big deal when the U.S. wins, because it just hasn't happened very often. So the fact that we were able to get out of the gate with a very convincing, impressive win over a pretty good Paraguay team, that encourages me a little bit that maybe this team can at least get out of group play. They've got Australia, of course, on Friday.
And it's all about attack. And, these are some young kids who the expectations aren't really high. I think they were looking to the next World Cup for them to kind of have their coming out party, but as well as they played in the off season and then also in the exhibition matches, that does, it is exciting. And it's you see those young kids and they're just like, I just think they've got the bug, and they just got to say, okay, let's stay healthy. We can do this. And that's what you like to see, the progression of the whole World Cup, to see how these teams and players handle it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Big sports weekend, of course, this past weekend. Another big one coming up, but a great week of sports and a lot of things happening right here on this program as well. We're going to get to the Braves. We're going to get to some UFL and plenty more ahead here in this hour of the Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Stay with us right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the SportsPig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Make your home's air healthier. Green Heating and Cooling can help by installing a Bryant Evolution air purifier just for you. Using Captures and Kills technology, this highly advanced MERV15 filter captures many select airborne pathogens. It also helps improve indoor air quality for both asthma and allergy sufferers by filtering air impurities like dust, pollen, and pet dander. Call to schedule an evaluation. Green Heating and Cooling, your top Bryant authorized dealer, whatever it takes.
Big opinions
Nobody pray for me.
of the big
You been out there
games
for me.
from the big mouths.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's the Morning Rant on WPGY The Sports Pig, North Georgia's home for ESPN Radio.
Sit down. Me, I'm
A Mafia Monday here on the Morning Rant. Thanks for being with us. Dave Garner alongside Big John Davis as we chop it up. A rough weekend for the Atlanta Braves. Man, they've lost 4 out of 5. They lose the series yesterday 8-1. The game yesterday, they lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets. They did salvage the Saturday night game. Of course, the third game of that White Sox series was rained out, so technically swept in 2 games there. I'm sure they'll make that one up later in the season. But nonetheless, though, man, some bad news coming down the pipe against Spencer Strider. May very well be out for extended time. He has already went to see the physician. It does not look good. There haven't been reports, I don't believe, that have come out definitively yet. But Spencer Strider could be headed towards another surgery, possibly elbow surgery, and that takes him out of the mix. Meanwhile, the Braves bats have just not shown up lately. Definitely the worst stretch of the season so far to this point. Certainly not time to hit the panic button. Hey, we're not, even to the All-Star break yet, but we're seeing one of those little stretches right here where they're going to have to try to work through.
Well, that's one of the things you've got to maintain as well. You just got to keep, you got to keep the foot on the gas. Strider is the next man up. We're still 8 games above 500. So, it just depends on the people who step up, left 17 on base against the White Sox, the Red Sox. And batted .260 with runners in scoring position, which wasn't that bad. But 5-5 in the last 10. But the key one is 1-4 in the last 5. So we need to get that turned around.
Absolutely. Day off today, and then the Giants in town as the Braves come back home there. And, again, we'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow on our Rally Towel Tuesday. We'll be with Will Coop later in the week as we have our Tomahawk Take, and we'll kind of look back at the Braves as far as the week that they've had so far. And hopefully it'll get a little bit better, but the Giants, again, are playing some good ball right now, so that's not going to be an easy task for Atlanta. Meanwhile, UFL, man, wrapping up. So we talked about, NBA, basketball coming to an end over the weekend, hockey coming to an end last night, and again, spring football with the UFL also coming to a close as the Louisville Kings and the DC Defenders, man, went head-to-head.
Yeah, no, it was another great game. DC, I think, was picked by 1.5, 49.5 points. You would think that those were 2 of the best offenses or consistent offenses in the UFL. I just get a kick out of the owner. He trying to, I was reading an article this morning, he was trying to play like the villain. If somebody would, bitch and complain about something, he's like, yes, I agree with you 100%. Let's do something about it. And then he'd already have a plan to be put in place. But I will say this, the nerd in me kept figuring out how are these teams run from inside out, the GMs and obviously the coaches and things like that. I read this morning that the personnel office, who is basically the general manager, they are all all teams' personnel office is run by like 2 or 3 people in a centralized office through the UFL. So what? Yeah. So now, getting into that article, and I know this might not be important to a lot of people, but it's still fun to talk about because, believe it or not, UFL is here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be a proving ground for the NFL, not only player-wise but also technical-wise as well. But as a coach, can you imagine not knowing the general manager in the central office that's making trades during the season, and you have no idea, what it is, and you got to start with this new player, just like Louisville had to. Louisville had to get that got the new quarterback from DC because their quarterback was hurt. So that's just a little tidbit that I found interesting. But he's, they're looking to put another team, I think, in Oklahoma City in 28, and he named about 7 or 8 other teams. So that tells me there's some traction going on with the whole organization, with the NFL probably somewhere lurking, behind. This guy, hey, Dave, this guy might be, all he's looking for is maybe a payout. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
The NFL buys it out from underneath him, and he's like, hey, let me stay on as an emeritus type honoree owner, and you can have the whole thing.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. So, yeah, UFL, man, wrap it up as well. They're kind of a precursor, though, for all those, football fans, which we all are here in the South, obviously, but it gives us a little bit of something we can kind of pay attention to with all the things going on over the weekend. I think the UFL Championship probably a little bit overshadowed, admittedly, because of all the things. But nonetheless, though, still something to think about because, to your point, some of these guys are going to make some clubs, in the fall.
They will.
With somebody. They're going to land somewhere. I mean, you always hear those stories every offseason. A guy makes the roster that spent some time in the UFL. What was it they had there for a minute? That American Football Alliance or what? AAF?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Young Wei Koo had come out of there and some other players. So, again, you are seeing some guys out there that you may not recognize now, but they will make some NFL rosters. And so, again, all the more reason to kind of keep track of that. So, again, hey, Denny Hamlin, man, on a tear, 3 in a row. He wins at Pocono over the weekend, and he's starting to cut into Tyler Reddick's overall points lead a little bit right there. Let's not forget about NASCAR. Again, our Ray Clay rundown Monday, Thursdays, and Saturdays right here on the Sports Pig as they chop up NASCAR, but also local dirt tracks as well. Meanwhile, I don't know if you saw this or not, but again, there's different things out there. I was looking this up last night, and apparently they've rated the attractiveness of the World Cup fan bases. And so apparently there's a survey out there that says that you want to take a guess? I'll give you a guess, John. I know I'm just throwing it out there.
The number one?
Yeah, the number one. Who do you think?
Well, I would say it would be Brazil.
Okay, well, you're close. You're close. It's actually Argentina is the one they said had the most attractive as far as the most attractive fan base in the World Cup there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And the other bit of that, too, did you see all the Scotland fans that randomly showed up at a Red Sox game in Boston and broke out and all the chants and everything?
Yeah,
I mean, could you imagine being at a Braves game and all of a sudden, the fan base from one of these World Cup countries shows up and all of a sudden, man, it's just a big party.
That's all it is. That's all it is. That's great. Well, and also I got to go back. I heard those Swede girls were pretty cute too, but that's just something I heard on the street.
Yeah, I think Brazil, Sweden, like you said, some of those. So we'll have to see. Like I said, now I watched a lot of soccer over the weekend just because, man, out of curiosity more than anything, and they make it a point. The TV cameras certainly make it a point to try to pick out, they try to pick out the ones. I mean, they do a good job of trying to search out the attractive fans.
Right.
So they definitely make.
There's one guy. That's his job.
Yeah.
They've got him. They got him one place in the stadium. Hey, son, this is your only job. Yeah. Do us proud.
Do us proud, exactly. Oh man, hey, College World Series 2, as if there wasn't enough going on, man. The Georgia Bulldogs get the dub on Saturday night over Texas. They will play Oklahoma tonight at 7:00 in the winners bracket, and you can hear that action first pitch right here, 7:00 on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia, right here on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. The action from Omaha, and looking at it, over the weekend, Like we talked about, West Virginia, North Carolina going at it. North Carolina won that matchup. So today, West Virginia, Troy in the losers bracket game, Georgia, Oklahoma, as we said, in the winners bracket game, which means that Alabama and Texas are playing each other in the losers bracket game. They're double elimination until they get to the finals, and it's the best of three. But you can hear a lot of the action right here on the Sports Pig. But yeah, man, I mean, it's like you can't. There's going to be a time here in the next week or so where we're looking back and we're thinking to ourselves, man, we had so much to talk about in an hour, and then it's I don't want to say it's going to come crashing to a halt because there's still a lot to talk about because we're getting to the football season, but you're basically just going to have baseball and a little bit of World Cup going on for a little while, until camp, football camp opens up later in the summer.
Well, we've got to throw the WNBA in there as well. I've got a
Oh, you're right.
I got a good listener down in Griffin, Georgia, who has season tickets and absolutely loves it. And I guess the Atlanta Dream's doing pretty well this year, but
I think they were.
Football ended yesterday or Saturday with UFL. This is when you and I talked about, let's hope that the police blotter stays down, but alas, it has not. But we'll get into that on Wednesday once we hear a little bit more news. Unfortunately, we lost an NFL player, defensive lineman at 36. We don't know what happened to him, but the great Alden Smith from Missouri, who just had spectacular rookie and I think the third season, 19.5 sacks 1 year, still a franchise record for the 49ers. We don't know what has happened with him, but to say the least, the last 3 or 4 years have been really rocky for him. So, it's just we go back to it, Dave, and I feel like we got to talk about it just about every show. If you could just put a little snippet in, is that this mental health, don't do it alone. There's help out there, and we'll get on our social media. We'll be sure to start adding some of that stuff as well. But yeah, you hate to hear it. You got a couple of arrests, and I just don't understand I just don't understand it. How you can be afforded such a great opportunity, and financially especially, and then it goes south, and that just goes to show you that it's real, and it's not real. It's just not with the NFL. It's with all professions of life.
Yes, absolutely. A continuing conversation that we'll have right here on the Morning Rant moving forward. Hey, a big week this week. On Friday, it is the second leg of our Bradley's Brunch and Lunch Summer Tour. We'll talk about that a little bit more later in the program and also later in the week, as well as we lead up to a big day on Friday. 3-hour radio show of our Friday Happy Hour will turn into our Friday Happy Hours, man, at Bradley's Bar and Grill off of Lower Roswell Road in East Cobb. Of course, check us out on social media. The Sports Pig is on Facebook, the Morning Rant on Instagram, and full video episodes on YouTube. Again, the podcast version of the show uploaded on our website every day, sportspigradio.com, and wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcast throughout the day on Apple and Android platforms across the spectrum. Spotify, Podbean, you name it. You can also interact with us on social media. I'm at Dave Garner 777 on Twitter. He's at John Davis _65, and this is the Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Hey, the text line is popping off. We'll get to some of your questions coming up in the next segment. Stay with us right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. That's the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Welcome to your hometown pub. Open 7 days a week, the pub in Ella J is your happy hour hangout. They offer a variety of dishes to satisfy every palate, and their friendly staff is here to ensure a wonderful time. Join them for daily happy hour specials Monday through Thursday. And don't forget, every Wednesday is Wing Wednesday with $1 wings all day long. Located at 941 Maddox Drive in East Ella J. Open Sunday through Wednesday till midnight, Thursday through Saturday till 2 a.m. The pub in Ella J, where every visit feels like home. It's time to roll back the clock and relive the biggest moments from the weekend. This is your Mafia Monday Weekend Rewind with a man who knows what it means to battle in the trenches. It's table crushing time on the Morning Rant.
Back here with John Davis. I'm Dave Garner. Thanks for joining us right here on the Morning Rant. Again, our Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open, 866-888-0744. A wild weekend, man. A lot of sports going on this weekend. Hey, can't forget about the PGA, man. Bud Colley wins again the tournament there. Koepka injuring himself there, it looked like. And, a lot of other sports, as we talked about. It's easy to get overshadowed this time of year, where usually we would be talking about golf and tennis. Of course, the French Open just wrapping up last weekend. Wimbledon on deck. So there's a lot of things that are going to be happening still over the next several weeks and months leading up to football season. But again, nonetheless, man, PGA action still going at it, and we'll be following it for you right here as best we can.
Shinnecock Hills this weekend for the U.S. Open. I pulled up the betting lines. They got Scotty Scheffler to 13 to 15% win probability. He's looking to close out the career Grand Slam. And then you go down with Roy and John Rahm, Cameron Young, all the same guys. That's what it gets to when you get to these big tournaments. It's usually the top 10 guys usually don't move around much. Bruce Koepka, he hurt his hand. He was actually the last winner at Shinnecock. And we'll find out later on this week. We got a couple of days, obviously, and he took Sunday off. So maybe he'll get a little rest time to get that hand. Always good. He was I believe, up on the leaderboard the first day, and then the second day in the top 10, and then I guess he started having some hand problems. But yeah, it's I always look forward to the U.S. Open because sometimes it's not about the players as much as it is about the greenskeepers and the maintenance people on the course, because they take a real, they want zero. They want par is all they want. They're not looking for it to be 7, 8, 9 over, and they sure as heck don't look for it to be 1, 2, or 3 under. But they would love to have par. And if you're a golfer, you'll understand why, because the U.S. Open golf course is usually 99% of the time the hardest tournament on that year, just because of the way they have it set up and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun watching it, and it's you just have to see if Scotty can close out the Grand Slam and make that 2 in 1 year. No, actually he won it. Rory was last year. He closed it last year, and then Reed won it this year. So it'll be a good weekend.
It'll be fun. Again, UFC Freedom 250, the main event, saw Justin Gaethje defeat Ilia Topuria. Again, that was a big matchup there in the lightweight, the UFC Freedom 250 at the White House. We talked about it a little bit this morning over on our sister station. What a backdrop. Nothing screams America more than the Thunderbirds and Blue Angels, with a flyover of the White House and then watching guys just pummel each other all night long, man. Nothing says America more than that, but I tell you what, man, it was the American with the big upset in the nightcap in the main event there. But yeah, great matches all night long. You saw it. Different matches. It was on Paramount Plus, and we let our subscription run out, so I was kind of keeping up with that more on social media while I'm watching, the Braves, of course, fall apart, and then watching World Cup last night. There were just so many things going on. You kind of had to rely on your mobile device a little bit. But yeah, man, it was just a fun weekend all the way around, no matter what your flavor.
The atmosphere was unbelievable. Trump knows how to do it, and he's going to go out with a bang, and it's, he's doing it in the name of America, and without getting political or anything. That's something that we need right now, and I think this is an important time of our life. And what better way to share this than sports? Sports always seems to be the great unifier. I can hate the Raiders as much or the Patriots or any of that, but at the end of the day, sports is the great unifier, and it's like 3 or 4 hours that you were just like, that's your time, and that's why I enjoy, honestly, watching the fans at the soccer matches, because you talk about people who take it in. You talk about passion. They were talking about, I forget how many people, I think 200 million or whatever watched the Super Bowl this year, and I think the watch football worldwide's over 1 billion, and it's just absolutely amazing that it is the number one and most popular sport in the world.
Yeah, whether you like it or not. And, today, Lamine Yamal, the young Spaniard, again on display in Atlanta as Team Spain takes on Cape Verde, right at noon, kickoff today at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So a lot of watch parties going on around Atlanta and all over the country, and it's just so fun seeing all the different fans from all the different countries filing in there. So, again, World Cup will continue to keep you updated right here as we take a look at it. Hey, I wanted to spend some time. We have had a couple of messengers in here. No answers yet on the trivia question, by the way. Again, we want to hear from you. Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open, 866-888-0744. The trivia question we threw out at the beginning of the show, what NFL coach with at least 50 games coached has the worst winning percentage of all time? Now, last week on the program, we had the winningest of all time with at least 200 games coached. Today we have the losingest. And I promise, John, I haven't looked it up because I kind of want to, feel like a fan too here. So we will reveal the answer here in just a moment. But it did want to get to the text line. We had a couple of different texts in here. It says the U.S. men haven't won a World Cup, but let's not forget the U.S. women have won 4, including recent titles in 2015 and 2019. So different tournaments, but certainly worth mentioning right there. And that is a good reminder because as much as the men have been kind of a study in futility as far as only 8 wins prior to this tournament since 1930. The women, on the other hand, in America, as we all know, have been pretty dominant over the last several decades.
Well, and what we'll say with the men also, and it's true because I've looked it up over the past 4, 5, 6 years when they keep bringing it up, is that it was the lack of leadership that caused the demise of the men's team. And they finally, and it's one of those to where you can't rebuild from top down. This is not an organization, as you know. So they had to start at the little kids. And, I mean, when I say they started at the little kids, they started prioritizing the national soccer scene, and then they started building from their groups on up from there and making sure that they had the right coaches and the right organizational people in there that can now feed the U.S. men's team. And so the U.S. men's team's not having to worry about where's my next player come, because, he trusts somebody to say, okay, here's the next kid, and take him and work with him. So, but now that they have done that, like I had said earlier, I think they were kind of looking at 30 as being the breakout year for the team. But as we have said, and plus, remember, Dave, we talked about this as well. You see these scores 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. At the end of the first round play, that's going to be able to help you because it's going to put you in certain seating position. And so the more goals you can score, the better. You're not running the score up. Trust me. This is all strategical. And so
you got to win any of those tiebreakers or any of those things that exist.
You want to get that out of the way. You're exactly right.
Absolutely. Again, great one there. Hey, another one on our Jasper Coca-Cola text line. And we were talking about, Justin Gaethje. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. The American that pulled off the upset the other night at Freedom 250. He's 37 years old. He defeated a much younger Tapiria for the title there. But how about Jordan Stahl, another 37-year-old winning the Conn Smythe Trophy? It's a great sports story. In today's star-driven sports world, do we sometimes undervalue veteran leadership until the playoffs prove how important it is? Great question. I'll ask you that as well. Haven't been a professional athlete there, talking about the role of veteran leadership and what it plays, especially in the playoffs.
I don't know how it is today because the money is so high. They have people, and I'm not using this as bad, but like Jackson Dart. Okay, they bring him in, and this is going to be his second or third year. Well, he's the leader. Well, hell, how can you lead when you've only been? I mean, you can lead by I'm the quarterback, or you can lead that I make $55 million a year. But back when I played and back in the old days, we all know that's not what I mean. But you actually had true veteran leadership. You had the Kent Hulls. Campbells on the offensive line. You had the Darryl Tallies on the defense. You had the Jim Kellys. You had the James Lofton, who wasn't a captain, but he was 35, 36, who brought a wealth of knowledge to the sport. And so I think that's who you lean on. I'm not going to say if it was a young kid that came in there, I wouldn't respect him. But I would watch him and then see what his actions were, and then that way I'll know where my respect level is. But when you come into a situation like, not only did I in Houston with Mike Munchak and Bruce Matthews, Dean Steinkuhler, all those guys were leaders. All those guys were, they knew how to lead. They spoke softly, but you listened to them. And then in Buffalo was the same thing. Jim and Kent, there were about 4 or 5 of those guys, Darryl Talley, that they would, they kind of controlled the atmosphere when it really got down to it. And so I think I think the veteran leadership, without it, it's very hard to win. But there are instances where that we both know that does happen. Hey, right. look at Bobby Cox. Those years, and then you see, and I'm not saying anything about baseball as far as, I'm just saying you see a young manager come in and they just can't get it done. They don't have that rapport with their players. And then Philadelphia, then they got to bring in Don Mattingly, I believe, and look what Philadelphia's doing.
Yes, exactly. And it's completely gotten them back on track. Yeah. And that's the thing. If you're a Braves fan, you're kind of watching in the rearview mirror, especially after you lose 4 out of 5 and you say, hey, these guys aren't going away. And with a guy like Mattingly at the helm, they're going to be, in the mix, and you're going to have to keep your foot on the gas. Still a long way to go in the Major League Baseball season. But great questions right there. Appreciate those folks popping off on our Jasper Coca-Cola text line at 866-888-0744. When we come back, we will reveal the answer to our trivia question, and you've still got time to check in with us right here, so please do that and guess the answer. Again, which NFL coach with at least 50 games coached has the lowest winning percentage of all time? The answer coming up next. Text us right here, 866-888-0744. Man, we're already into the stretch run of the program here today. Time flies when you're having fun and when you have a lot to talk about. Thanks for being with us right here on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant, presented by your friends at Foundation Wealth in Dalton. Again, we are the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia, right here and only on the SportsPig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Financial scams are on the rise, and with AI, they're getting more and more sophisticated every day. If someone pressures you to act quickly, ask for secrecy, or request payment through gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency, stop. Legitimate financial professionals don't rush you or demand unusual payment methods. Before you send money or share personal information, slow down and verify. Protect your future. When in doubt, ask questions.
If you're suspicious of a scam, call the team at Foundation Wealth today at 706-278-0214.
ACC action, SEC showdowns, and the roar of NASCAR. Hear it all on the Sports Pig.
All right, back here with the Morning Rant. Thanks for being with us right here on the program. Again, a couple things going on with the board right here, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. But I am back here, Dave Garner, alongside the big man, John Davis, here on a Monday morning quarterback edition of the show. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for your patience right here. We'll try to figure everything out here in just a moment. But nonetheless, though, man, hey, it's already been a great Monday. We've covered a lot of ground here as we hit our final segment of the program. And I did want to reveal the answer to our trivia question. Again, it was earlier in the show there, and we mentioned the question was name the NFL coach with at least 50 games coached under their belt with the lowest winning percentage of all time. And again, we've had a couple different people texted, but not necessarily answers to the trivia question. So we're just going to go ahead and throw it out there, man. John, I'll turn it over to you and let you reveal the answer to us.
He coached for the Oakland Raiders and then 3 years with Cleveland Browns. I did think that he was with Atlanta, but he was not. It's Hugh Jackson. Hugh is famous for Hugh Jackson. Hugh is famous for a 2-year stretch in the NFL of going 1-31. That's not good.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not good right there. So again, yeah, that's part of it right there. So again, Hugh Jackson, the answer to the trivia question up top here today. So again, appreciate you guys being with us right here on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the program. Again, this week we've got a busy show. On Friday, it's our 3-hour Bradley's Bar and Grill show from 10 to 1 right here on the Morning Rant. Again, it's the brunch and lunch second leg of the tour. I saw the commercial that we put out there that, again, our friend John Capone put out on social media over the weekend. Man, it fired me up, man. I was ready. I mean, I'm so ready for all the food, all the different stuff. We want to encourage folks to come on down if it is a federal holiday for some people. So, you know, if you've got the day off, or if you can swing on by and you're in the area, man, we'd love to see you.
Yeah, we're gonna smoke. We're gonna have some quartered chickens and whole chickens. We're gonna have some sausages. We're gonna have some baby back ribs, pork barbecue sandwiches. I think for like $2. Maybe some pork nachos. John's really excited. This is his 19th year. Bradley's has been around for 28. Then it used to be an old Buffalo Wild Wings before that, but no, John's excited. We cut a little commercial with him on Thursday, and we're trying to get it out on social media. The big smoker's going to be there, of course. Dave and I will be there broadcasting from 10 to 1 as well, and still selling some raffle tickets. If you have any interest, let us know. You'll get one of my high school, college, and professional jerseys, as well as a book with Bill Curry, 10 Men You Meet in the Huddle, and I think that'll be a fantastic book. He's coach has never written a bad book, and he really puts everything into it. So, but yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend, and plus, more than anything, Dave, is that we've got that big announcement coming up.
Yeah, a big announcement on Friday during the show, so you won't want to miss it. Tune in. If you can be there, great. But if you can't, listen in between 10 and 1 on Friday. We'll be talking it up. A busy week ahead right here, as we talked about World Cup. We've talked about, of course, the NBA Finals, NHL, Stanley Cup Finals coming to an end. So a couple of sports wrapping up over the weekend, paving the way for the boys of summer baseball. A lot more Braves talk coming throughout the week. As we mentioned, an off day today. Hopefully they can get back on track, taking on the Giants. Hey, one of the ongoing conversations that we've had right here on the program has been the college and NFL excuse me, not the NFL, the NIL talk. And I know that there's different folks. We talked about Nick Saban, different folks, but Deion Sanders has also kind of chimed in as well. You and I were talking a little bit about that. Definitely some more news and notes as far as all the different things that are on the table right now with the salary cap. You name it, man. I mean, it's just this. It's gotten to be kind of this like laundry list of things now that are having to be addressed.
Well, I think at the end of the day, Texas Tech is just digging them a hole that they can't get out of, and I'll talk about Deion in just a second. But they're calling now for the Oklahoma AG to put sanctions or suspend Sorsby so he can't play. So the NCAA is now not the only entity that's being involved. So you're starting to get a lot of these states, AGs, that are getting in tune with everything. So, but Deion's article was pretty interesting, level-headed. I've known Deion. We all know who Deion is. You know, we all know the persona of primetime and all of that. But actually, there's really a nice guy within him, and I think he just keeps it just about as real as anybody does. But when he comes in and says, look, this NIL money's getting a little bit out of hand, or when you start, especially, and Deion would know, but especially the gambling aspect of it, I think he's just like, you give these kids all this money, what the heck do you think's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? I mean, the temptation's out there, so we've got to be able to put guidelines in place, and I think there are some guidelines, but I think we also know that you can still get around those with the little parlay cards that they have around campus and everything. But no, the one thing that I thought was funny, and Dave, I'd be interested to hear what you said. You remember when this whole transfer portal policy came out, and except for maybe 4 or 5 players, Colorado transferred transferred everybody else out, and then brought a whole new 80 players back in. And it's funny that he's saying here, he's like, yeah, y'all laughed at me 4 or 5 years ago. He said, now y'all the ones that are doing it. So who's getting the last laugh now?
Oh man, yeah. It's one of those things. I mean, the stuff is it's one of those things where it's always kind of been going on, but now that it is going on and it's like allowed, well, now it's just even more over the top. Nobody's trying to hide it anymore, so you can get away, with anything. I mean, think about it. There's really nothing illegal that you can't do anymore. I mean, you can even bet. I mean, we're seeing the whole thing with the Sorsby situation. I mean, you can gamble. You can even bet on your own team, and yet somehow or another you can still stay eligible.
Well, you just got to you got to find the right judge. Also Dion put in here, which you and I have talked about also, and this is coming from a sensible guy. This is coming from someone who has played, but he's like, even the NIL's getting out of hand. He's like, and it's almost like have something in place. He puts here as for NIL, he momentarily pondered if anything might have been different for him had he had a similar system in place when he was at Florida State. You know where that's leading. Yeah. Now, it probably wouldn't have changed. I had a pretty good run. Yeah, Dion, you did. There was a lot of us that did, but we performed, and he'll tell you the same thing. I never got a handshake if I played bad. I can promise you that. So so there's motivation on both ends, but again, what he's asking for basically is some type of salary cap, and it's performance play, and which I think that hopefully they'll move to that. I doubt that they will, but so I think everything that he said spot on. He's dealing with his cancer well. He actually took his first vacation that he's taken in a long time, and but I think it's one of those cooler heads that just comes up, and you can tell he's played the game, and you can tell that he wants what's right for the kids, but you can also tell he wants to win. And that's the bottom line.
And, of course, Colorado coming to Atlanta this year to take on the Jackets. And, Georgia Tech, man, they've got a couple interesting matchups. Colorado, Tennessee on the schedule this year. So a lot of front-loaded early season non-conference action for the Jackets this year. We're talking about, the athletic directors, certain things. And I know that you had in your notes, you were talking about certain ADs, do different things with different funds. And it kind of differs throughout the country depending on where your program's at.
Well, and one of the reasons why I brought that up, and I didn't think about it completely whole all the way through, but still in a way it does affect your program. How players transfer, coaches go for other schools. Jay Batt was a real superstar for Alabama with the lower sports, if I'm not mistaken, of raising money. And so bringing this subject up, when people will read about this AD left here, this AD left there, different ADs do different things. Jay Batt raises money. That's his sole thing. It's all he does. And when he sees that money's tapped out, then he's going to move somewhere else. Right. Dan Radakovich, great guy, great AD, finished up, just retired from Miami, was at Georgia Tech for about 7 or 8 years. Our kids played football together. Dan builds stadiums. He builds structures. That's what he does. That's why they bring him in, to put the packages together and to be able to do that. And then some of the ADs that come in are basically there to hire and fire. They don't really have a whole lot to do. I mean, they still have their obligations, but they don't have a whole lot to do other than, the guy before you couldn't get rid of these people, so you're the new hatchet man. And so I should accountability be held on some of these ADs if they should stay a little bit longer. I guess if they sign a contract, I guess that they work all that financial stuff out. I don't tend to get as mad at the ADs switching around, but I feel like if a fan, if a friend of ours says, what does this guy do, or what does this guy do? Because at Georgia Tech we've had a lot of that, and so I think by saying that what some ADs do, what their jobs are, kind of gives people maybe a little bit more perspective.
Yes, absolutely. Great stuff right here on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Hey, we're out of time already, man. Big John bringing it right here. One more point.
Can I give you one more point? The Rhine Fire in Germany, 35-0 over London. They're 2-1. Offensive line's doing great. Go Coach Mack.
So we thought football was over, but only
that's
here
right.
in America.
We still have American European League.
Yes, so let's not forget that. So, man, plenty of things going on right here on the program. Hey, for some reason, the computer's not playing music, so we're just going to talk this one all the way to the top of the hour. Appreciate you guys being with us right here on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Get Jasper Coca-Cola text line, as always, open 866-888-0744. The king of college football, Chuck Oliver, is up next with Southern Sports Today. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
When you get hurt from an accident, it can feel like no one is listening to you. The insurance company talks over you. The bills keep coming. It's like the pain and inconvenience doesn't even matter to them. But your story does matter. And here at Geiger Legal, we will make sure your story is heard loud and clear. My name is Casey Geiger, and my firm stands up for people who have been wronged through someone else's negligence. Let us tell your story. Let us get the justice you deserve. And let's start today.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG. That's 833-HELP-GLG, and let us tell your story today.